Welcome to the Krista Escamilla Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Krista Escamilla Show. I am so glad that you're spending this time with us, and we are so happy to have an amazing woman. I know National Women's History Month was last month, but we're going to continue it with another amazing woman here with us today, Stephanie Rivas, the general manager of the Wagner Noël, and also a friend and colleague of many years. So thanks for being here.
We go way back.
Way back. Before Steph, we jump into our, just talking and chatting like two just girlfriends, like we've been for the past half hour here. We're gonna thank our sponsors. We couldn't have our show without you. So thank you so much to Tapestry Hotel Midland, Rig ID, JoinCapClub.com, and Midland Cap Company. Go support those local restaurants, stores, hat clubs, hotels as much as you can. So thank you. Awesome. Okay, now that we've done,
all the
checklist,
business.
That's right, we did the business. We can just sit back and talk and hear your story, Steph, because I know it's an amazing one, and you are just one of these women in our community that has a heart for West Texas. And so I just can't wait to find out how you got here and your story and how you began in journalism first, right?
Yeah.
Before the Wagner Noël. So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I am a West Texas girl. So I grew up in Denver City. Little bitty oil town, just like everyone else, you want to move away, never come back.
Right.
And then here we are back in West Texas.
I've heard that story before.
Yeah.
But it's a good one because it's such a great place.
It really is, I could not ask for better, as far as just career and being able to be around family and raising my son and all of those things. It has been really, really wonderful. I started out, when I went to college, I thought I was going to be a theater teacher.
Okay.
So that was my first. I've always loved theater. I've always loved music.
Yes.
I was in choir, I was in band, I did one act play. Again, this is in Denver City. But we had an amazing band, we had an amazing choir, and we had really great programs. Right. The majority of the people that I knew and surrounded me were teachers. And so when I went to school, I was like, I'm going to be a theater teacher. And, so I get all the way to the end of my, education, and I was just telling this story to somebody the other day. I had one semester of student teaching and one semester of curriculum and instruction classes left. And this is at Southwest Texas State University, which is now Texas State. And I walk into
San Marcos. Okay, Gotcha.
I walk into my advisor and I just go, I don't want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do?
It just hit you one day.
Yeah, it just hit me one day. And I don't really know why.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even remember what that epiphany was.
Right.
I loved theater, but I was like, I don't think the classroom is where I want to be or where I need to be. And, he was a very sweet man, but he was about 80 years old and said, young lady, you need to figure it out. And that was okay. That was my advice. And I just
those were words of wisdom from Yoda. Yes, so figure it out.
But I had a friend who was in the communications department, and I loved being in the communications department because, it's really cool. And they had the radio station and the TV station, and it was just always a fun place to hang out. But she had an amazing mentor, Dr. Lori Fluker, who is still at the university. Oh. And hi, Lori. Love her. And she just, she took time to listen to me and to talk to me. And she said, take my intro to communications class this summer. And then let's talk. Like, just maybe there's something else out there for you.
I love that.
And so I did that, and I switched my degree to mass communications with an emphasis in broadcasting. And I did stay longer in school than most. My mom just said, please graduate.
At some point.
We just need to finish. I mean, please. And
but I always say it doesn't matter how long it takes you. I mean, I don't care if you go back to school at 78, you know what I mean? Right. I've heard these stories and I'm like, it doesn't matter how long it takes you, but if that's in your heart to finish, you've got to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to do it. Yes. And you have to go down that path that all of a sudden you see, right? And it really was. I loved the program. I loved journalism because, again, you meet people, you tell stories, you learn things. I felt like I was learning something every day.
Yes,
right.
That's what I loved about it too. Exactly.
And so that experience, you just don't have it in many other careers.
Right.
And
it's different every single day.
It really is. It's different. It's always changing, always evolving. And I think maybe at the core of it, that's what was really hard for me about teaching. And I obviously love so many of my teachers, and I love what teachers do. But it's a very structured. There's a different type of structure to that. And I'm just a little bit on the, creative, do my own thing kind of. And so I think that's why this spoke to me so much. Yes. And I loved it. I mean, I had that career for 15 years. And, moved to San Antonio, worked in a large market, but in between all of that, I had done some PR and I had done some marketing, and, I had dipped my toe into some other things.
And still did theater at the same time.
And still did theater.
Yes.
I was doing community theater. I mean, that was one of the first things, when I moved to Midland when I graduated from college, and my first job was at Channel 9, and I was a producer at the time. I found the community theater because I didn't know anyone here, so I needed friends, and it was an outlet that I loved, and so I did a lot of community theater at the time, and it was wonderful. When you don't have children yet, you have
lots of time.
You don't need a lot of sleep. There's
a lot of time on your hands.
And so it was it was really nice. I always got to feed that part of me. And then when we moved back from San Antonio, my son was starting school. Elementary school, and which was again the reason we moved back, because it's really hard in a big city to raise a little one.
And you're closer to home.
You're closer to family.
Denver City then is closer than San Antonio, right? To you. So it was like, there's no place like home.
Yeah, it was. So it was good. There was opportunity here. There was opportunity, and so, but the Wagner Noël was in construction. They were just about to open. And, I'd drive by it because I live in Midland and was driving to CBS. And so I'd go back and forth and I'd watch it and go, oh, that's really cool. I don't really know what that's all going to be. But, being somebody who loves theater and entertainment, I was like, this is really a neat thing. And during that process, UTPB had reached out to private management to help them with the Performing Arts Center. And so they were in town just constantly, overseeing the project, and CBS, we're covering
doing the story.
We're doing the story. We're covering what's happening, and I always feel like it's not. I have a lot of faith, right? That things are going to work out the way they're meant to be, and that things happen for a reason.
Yes, so, fellow optimist. Yes, I love it.
and so when we moved back, and I'd started back at Channel 7, again, loving my job and my career, but always in the back of my head, I think I always knew that there was going to be a time that I was going to make a switch, right? That I was getting to that part of my career, that if there was another opportunity that lent itself more to my family life, that I might go down that direction. And so I'd had conversations with some of our wonderful young reporters who, they're just on their way to the big market, and they're scared, and I'm giving the encouragement, and I'm saying, no, take that leap of faith. You're young, you don't have anything tying you down. Live your life.
Go for it. Go for it. Dream big.
Yeah. Yes. And in one of those conversations, the young reporter says to me, well, what about you? Like what, and I said, you know what? I'm good right now. I said, I think that there'll be an opportunity for me later. I said, I loved kind of the marketing PR side of things. I said, if something presented itself, like I think, that felt good, I might try that. So, keep going. A few weeks later, she does an interview with one of the corporate heads at the management company, and he says, I need a marketing director. If you know anyone, please give them my card, because we need to fill these positions. And she walked back to the station that day, and she put the card in front of me, and she said, you need to call them. And so I did.
Who was this young reporter? I'm thinking, is this the Shannon time? Was it Shannon? And,
it was Jennifer.
And Jennifer. Okay. Yeah. I was like, this has got to be like Shannon and Jennifer were there.
It was Jennifer.
Amazing colleagues that we got to work with.
Yes. And so Jennifer said, you need to call him. And so I did. And I, 2 interviews later, and a month goes by. And so I'd done the interviews, and a month goes by, and they're still coming in. And all the reporters and the anchors are like, did you hear anything? And I'm like, no, they're just like, they're just waiting it out.
Yeah.
And of course, now my VP of theaters, he says, well, we already knew we were going to hire you. And I'm like, could you have let me in on this story?
Yes.
So I did get the job. I did leave news to go be the director of marketing at the Wagner Noël Performing Arts Center.
Which is perfect for you. I mean, we were all so happy when you got the job. We're like, there's no one more perfect for this job than Stephanie.
It was just my dream job.
Yeah.
I mean, literally from day one, it brought all my worlds together, right? I mean, my love for theater and entertainment, and being able to be in this community where I knew people, I knew the function of television and radio, and I mean, it really just fit all of those pieces.
Right.
But I do though feel that it was all of my experiences being in communications and being a journalist and all of that helped me build who I am as a general manager.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Because everything happens for a reason and brings you to this job. I mean, it was preparing you for this.
It was preparing me for this. Yes. Because I don't know. I mean, I think I feel fairly confident that I could have always been a director of marketing in that facility. But being the general manager is a very different piece of it,
right?
And there's some different kind of levels of growth and learning that you need to have for that experience.
Were you scared taking on the general manager role? Because I think
1,000%.
And how did that feel for you? Like how did that process go? Because at one point, I guess the general manager is deciding to retire or move or whatever. And so there's this opening.
Yes, we're a new facility, and we're trying to find our footing, and so we had our first general manager was from Florida, and he had some other family situations that took him back to Florida, so he was here with us for a little over a year, and so when that happened, I just am the type of individual. Sometimes I feel like maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment, but I am the type that will just like jump in. I'm like, okay, well, so they're gone. What do we need to do? How do we need to keep this going? Yeah. Like we got a good thing going here. Let's just keep going. And
you're just an amazing businesswoman and mom. That's what you do. You jump in.
Yeah. So we just jump in. And so, I'd kind of pick up the slack where I could. And then, we get another, individual in and they'd be here for a couple of years. And I had some great mentors in that seat, in that general manager seat, awesome. Throughout that time. But West Texas wasn't their home.
Right.
And they, one or two were more clear about it than others that this wasn't going to be their kind of forever place, right? And they loved the facility. They loved what we did. They loved what we had to offer, and they were here to help elevate the space, but they knew this wasn't their space to be in.
Gotcha.
And every time we would go through that, and I would jump in, and I would continue to learn, and and I was always asking questions, and I was always involved. Yeah. And one of those gentlemen, at one point said, "We need to make you the assistant general manager. Like, you are doing the job." Yeah. So now let's make that official. And so, that was able to happen. And then, sure enough, about a year and a half later, he moves back to the Austin area. And so I'm able to then slide in appropriately into that
You're like,
seat.
yes, please.
Yeah.
I'll take it. You're already doing the job for a year and a half. Yeah. No, it's just official.
Yeah, no, we're just moving in there.
I love that.
But, it is scary.
Yeah.
I don't think that there was a time where I was like, oh yeah, I know I can do this. I'm 100% positive. And it's scary. There's still a lot of unknowns. Right. I'm still learning things. The one thing that I always kind of could rest on was that I felt like I was always really good at relationships. Because again, as a journalist and as a reporter, you're building quick relationships with people. And that's what I still had the opportunity to do with agents and promoters and, our presenters and clients that come into the building. And so it was just in a different way. And
you get to go pick the amazing artists and I want to hear more about that because I vicariously live through your New York trips. When I see you on Facebook, I'm like, oh, there's Steph living her best life on Broadway, getting to pick who we're or all the conventions you go to, getting to pick who's coming here next. So we're going to talk more about that in just a second. And I just want to say you are so perfect for this job. And I think that our experiences in life, like you were saying, that's just God preparing us for where we're meant to be. And it's such a great feeling to see my friend in a place where she's meant to be.
Well, thank
so,
you.
Congratulations
Yeah,
on
thank
that.
you.
And I can't wait to hear more about, first we have to quote of the day.
Oh, okay.
So, I love quotes. And this is going to be, you pick one and then tell me what it means to you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's pick this one.
Oh, somebody put some of the blank ones in there. Hold on.
This one means a lot to me.
That's called live recording.
But this word means a lot to me.
The dream card is perfect for you. Okay, let's make sure all these. Okay, sorry about that. Someone must have cleaned my desk while we were gone.
Okay, so this one says, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And that was Nelson Mandela.
Yes.
And it really is. I mean, so we think about education. I mean, just what we were talking about. Learning. We're learning something every single day, right? I mean, it changes who we are as an individual. It changes how we treat other people. It changes how we, are in our space, whatever that space may be, or whatever that job may be. I mean, it's all about learning something. I mean, if we don't know things, we can't do our job.
Exactly. There's another quote, something like, "You don't want to be the smartest one in the room." Like, and I never feel like that. Just so you know. I never feel like the smartest one in the room, because you have to learn, and I want to learn from the people that I'm around, and I want to learn something new every day.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I love about doing the podcast, is because we get to hear stories like yours and learn something new from someone every day. If you can take one nugget away, right, that goes, you know what, I can do that. I can go for that general manager job. I can go for that dream job. I can do it. Then it's all worth it, right? And so I love that. Education is key.
It really is key.
Do you have a favorite quote?
I'm not a big quote. I don't quote people, but I'm using actually one today. We're doing a customer service training with my staff.
That's right.
And Maya Angelou has one that talks about they may not remember what you say, they may not remember what you do, but they will always remember how you feel.
Yes, how you make
them feel.
Love that one.
And I love that one,
favorites.
and I use that one a lot, and I think about that one a lot, because what we do in our facility is all about feeling.
It is.
It is about emotion. It is about, you might come in and be having a okay day.
Very true.
Or an okay week. And, my hope and the staff's hope is that you're going to come in and you're going to experience this concert or this performance, and that you're going to just leave just moved, inspired, happier, lighter, and that's what it's all about. It's all about that feeling. I still, I can remember how I felt about lots of different things, right? Whether it's sadness or anger or happiness. I mean, a feeling is strong. Emotion is strong.
You are a joy giver, really, with what you do in there. And I don't know, I don't think we've ever talked, but I had a very similar kind of experience in college that you did, and I was a theater major, and I remember sitting in a theater class one day, and we were talking about what it is about theater that we love, right? And being in the audience. And I remember specifically, Mr. McDermott, he was an amazing theater teacher, and he was about 80 also at the same time, and I loved his classes. He had a TV comm class. I mean, so very similar. He told me to go try the TV comm class, and he said, when you're on that stage, you're taking people away from the realities of their day-to-day world, and you're giving them an experience of emotions.
Yes.
And I'll never forget him saying that, because I thought, that is so true. When I'm sitting in this audience, it doesn't matter, like, all the junk, all the bills I got to pay,
all the things that you're thinking about
all
constantly.
Those things. Doesn't matter. When you're in that seat, you're taking them to another place and bringing them joy, or
an
taking
escape.
them. Yes. And so I just thought, wow, that is so cool. And that's what the Wagner does for West Texas. Let's talk about those amazing trips you go on now, because I'm like, oh, that's so cool. She gets to pick which amazing artists are coming in here and getting to fill us with joy. So what is that like?
It is a lot of fun. I will tell you that we have an amazing facility. I mean, this $81 million facility in the middle of West Texas with acoustics, just they're amazing acoustics. And, UTPB is just, I know they are very proud to have that facility, and should be proud to have that facility, because it literally is a bright little shining star in West Texas.
It is.
But it helps us in what I do, which is try to attract these performers to our area.
Like Jerry Seinfeld, he goes, "Oh my gosh, he could not stop talking about how amazing that theater was during his performance."
And he's like, "There's no trees. I don't know where the people come from." That is the funny part about where we sit, because we sit between Midland and Odessa. Most of our performers are driving in or flying in. So the airport is right behind us, or if they're coming in off the interstate, they come down 1788. You don't see Midland or Odessa.
It's true.
And so
you see pump jacks.
You see a lot of oil equipment
and tumbleweeds,
and so a lot of times that's the first thing they're saying. They're like, "Are you sure that people are going to come? I mean, I don't see any people. Is there really a town out here?" That kind of thing. Is there a city out here? But so the facility itself is just that is an amazing thing. Once they set foot in that facility, they're coming back. They're hooked. It's word of mouth, that type of thing. But I do, as part of, so I do work for ASM Global, work for a management company. We manage 300 venues worldwide, theaters, stadiums, arenas. So we, it's a lot of connections. It's a lot of, my conferences, my meetings, my visits to New York are really meeting these agencies, these producers, these presenters, and talking to them about the types of artists that would work best in West Texas. Yeah. It's funny because we all have favorites, right? We all have favorite artists. We all have favorite, musicians and shows, but they're not all going to be the best fit for our area.
That's true.
Right? So it's about selling tickets. Right. It's about the popularity of the product.
Right.
And so, sometimes, there's going to be an artist that, we have 1,827 seats, which is an amazing number of seats.
That is.
But it is not 10,000. Right. So we're not going to be doing a big stadium artist, because we just, you would have to pay a lot of money per seat. So,
to make it worth paying them
the
to
artist
come here. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So there are lots of number things in the back.
Who we're not getting. So we're not getting Taylor Swift.
We're not getting Taylor Swift.
No,
sorry. We're not getting Taylor Swift.
That's okay.
But yes, exactly. And so that's, it's a lot of times people don't understand kind of the business behind it, because there is a business behind it. It's not just, we can just go out and pick an artist and put them in a building.
Money.
You have to, and it's not even really about making money, because most of the time, the majority of the money to be made is by the artist.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody else gets a little piece.
Yes.
A little piece of that pie. Not so much of it.
Right.
But that's okay. It's not really about making money. It is about, yes, we want to be able to make enough to function and to keep the lights on and to keep the air conditioning going and keep that building, clean and pretty for all of you.
Right.
But it really is about just what can we bring culturally? What touring artists can we bring?
Yeah.
What does fit our market? And you talk about the New York trips. Broadway is such a unique beast in itself. The way these tours go out is really different. So, it can be a 10 truck show, an 8 truck show. And that doesn't really mean much to people, but that's the number of semi trucks with the amount of things in them that have to go on the stage.
So that comes into consideration when you're picking who's coming here.
Because we can't, sometimes the show is too big.
Gotcha.
The show is still too big. Gotcha. Or it may be something where, that show is only doing, say, a 2-week run. Well, we're Midland and we don't have the population to be able to sell 2 weeks of a show.
Gotcha.
So some of those things that come into play.
You bring in like a one time.
We're usually doing 1 to 2 nights.
Okay, or 2 nights, not 2 weeks. 2 nights.
1 to 2 nights, generally in our market, because we are smaller. We're a tertiary market, so we're doing 1 to 2 nights generally. We've done like 2 nights of Chicago or 2 nights of I think we did Beauty and the Beast, Jersey Boys. We did 2 nights, and so this next season we will have a really fun 2-night show. I can't even tell you who it is yet because the contract's not signed. But
what a tease that is!
I know, sorry, but Broadway is shaping up to be amazing for next season. I mean, I think our Broadway seasons have been phenomenal.
Oh yes.
This season in particular has been amazing. We've had Jesus Christ Superstar anniversary show, just blew people away. Anastasia, we had a wonderful young lady who grew up in Lubbock, Texas, and was the star of My Fair Lady.
I love that.
Yes, and so again, just what a unique opportunity to have national Broadway tours in Midland, Odessa.
Absolutely.
Right in our backyard.
And that really, because I bet a lot of people go, hey, Steph, why don't you bring in so-and-so, right?
We do.
Like a lot.
We get the suggestion.
But now that makes sense on how you choose which ones we're getting here in West Texas and how, I mean, you still take suggestions, right?
Oh, absolutely. Every day.
Okay.
Every day.
I
And
wish-
I love it because,
I know.
again, it does give me an idea of what you all want to see and
Right.
hear,
Yeah.
right? And I need to know that. I want to know that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a business question for you. So what is the one business tool that you've used through the years that you feel like has helped you get into this role and in this position and really helps make you successful like you are?
Business tool, as in...
It could be anything. It could be your day planner. Are you a hard copy day planner?
I am a hard copy day planner.
I thought we had had that conversation.
And
I am too.
I'm office supplies are my happy place. They're my love language.
She walked in, she was like, "Oh, we have the same
We have the same mouse pad.
mouse pad."
Yeah,
I love that.
Pens and planners, and
Yes.
so yeah, I am a hard copy. I do write a lot.
Yes.
Like the writing of things down, not just typing them out,
Right.
is really important to me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that.
So,
I was just throwing
yeah,
that. It
no,
could be any
but that
business
is,
tool
you know.
that has helped you.
Well, so for me in particular, it's not something anyone else will have. So we have a booking calendar.
Okay.
And it's a digital electronic book. Like I live by that calendar.
Gotcha.
That calendar is my end all be all. It has every potential show. It has every show that we have that we're working on contract. It has every confirmed show for the next 24 months. I mean,
Wow.
it is the one thing that if it went away, I don't know that I would know what to
Right.
do.
You'd be like,
Because
now what?
And I'm gonna knock on wood.
Right.
Don't ever go away. Because I don't have all that written down on paper
Right.
somewhere.
Steph's gonna go to the office and
I
take a
know.
picture
Yes.
right now. I'm gonna take a picture
totally
of
taking
this
a picture of that,
24
you know.
months ahead.
Yes,
Just in
now
case.
now that I'm a little freaked out. But that because I do. I mean, I live by that calendar.
Because you have to be in your business. You have to be looking 24 months. Because some businesses you're looking 6 to 12 months ahead. Some businesses you're looking a year to 2 or 5 to 10. My husband and I always call it like, what's your 20-year plan? What's your 10-year
Right.
plan? So with you, it's 24 months.
Yeah, it's about 24 months, and because again, national tours, they'll have an artist. Let's just take Willie Nelson. We have Willie Nelson is
Wait,
going
is
to
Willie coming?
Well, you never know. We have had Willie a few times, and he's amazing. But so they're putting a tour together, and that takes a while. I mean,
Right.
literally, they're trying to figure out how they're going to get them from one end of the country to the next, to the other side, and how that's going to look logistically, and where are the days off going to fall, and are they going to take a break here? Are they going to fly home? Are they, so all
they gonna
that
go through
Are they
Midland?
going to go through Midland? And so all that takes time, and so yeah, we're putting potential dates on, 12 months ahead, 18 months ahead, so that they can kind of figure out how that's going to work.
Wow.
And so it takes a while. I mean, it's a big
lot of
planning.
planning.
Yeah, a lot of planning, and for those agents, it's a puzzle. It's a very unique puzzle.
Right.
And then you're of course trying to anticipate all the things that could happen. COVID was the worst.
Yeah.
Because we just
Had to drop everything.
You had to drop everything. But then when we were trying to come back from that, then you were trying to figure out how do you even do a tour? Because now if somebody gets, sick, now we have to quarantine. And how many days do we have to quarantine? And is that the bass player or is that the tour manager? And
Wow.
do we,
I didn't think about that,
Just
yeah.
logistically, people would get really frustrated. And I understand the frustration. They'd go, oh my gosh, we can't have to cancel another show. And I'd go, but the logistics that come and the thought process that goes into that. There's a lot. I mean, there really,
Yeah.
really is. And I understand the frustration for the patron who was so looking forward to that
Yeah.
show, but there really is. There's just a lot that goes into those decisions on the back end.
What's your favorite show that has come through the Wagner Noël?
Oh my gosh. Favorite show. Gosh, there's been so many. In 10 years, sometimes I forget. There've been fun shows for different reasons. So like kids show. I have to just tell the story because it was so fun. This was years ago. We had just maybe been in the building 2-3 years, and Yo Gabba Gabba. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Kids show. So there's a DJ. That Biz Markie, that was his show.
Oh, I didn't
Biz
realize
Markie created Yo Gabba Gabba.
that. Okay.
So we sold 1,800 tickets for this show. I mean, it was they're
Wow.
littles, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a toddler show. It was like a rave for children.
The joy in that room.
The joy, Krista, and the energy and the glow sticks and the music and the hopping up and down.
Yes.
And it was just the best thing to experience. Then Bismarcky came with the tour at the time.
Oh, wow.
We didn't know that he was in the building. So he comes up on the stage and actually starts playing the turntables. And every parent who's
freaks out.
My age, nice 80s, 90s family, they freak out. So now we're like, it's an adult concert with Bismarcky on the turntable. The most fun day.
That's
it was
awesome.
Just a fun experience, right?
Yes.
I mean, so you have that. So you have those. Then you have Finding Neverland, Broadway.
Is that amazing?
It was just beautiful. If you watched Finding Neverland, you were there. You saw the pixie dust and it was Peter Pan and all of its beauty. And, it was funny because one of the production guys who, I said, oh my gosh, like the pixie dust and he said, do you want me to show you how we do it? And I said, no, I don't know. I don't want you to show me. Mm-hmm. Like, no, don't ruin this, this magic.
Yeah, I want to live in the magic world.
Live in the magic. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
And then I remember a story about Kristen Chenoweth. Didn't she come straight from her plane was delayed? I'm paraphrasing your story, and then walked right onto stage with her luggage or something.
So Kristen Chenoweth was the closest we were ever going to get to having Glinda from Wicked, right? I mean, this was Wicked is still a big show, and so but we'd had Kristen Chenoweth, and this was for our 5-year anniversary. And we're just so looking forward to having her. I mean, she's just such an amazing artist. And we're, loading the show, people coming in. And we'd already heard that her flight in Dallas was delayed. And so we're like, okay, so, we're just planning it. We're like, okay, well, we'll get everybody in. They canceled the flight. So they canceled the flight. And so
Was it weather? Was that what
it's Dallas.
Yeah, it was Dallas.
American.
That's all we have to say. It was Dallas.
Sorry.
And they were flying. Sorry.
Yeah. That's all I can tell you.
There's cancellations.
Yeah. I mean, we were fine. Right. And so we're, and we're not, and I don't even know why we were like, we're going to figure this out.
Right.
We're going to have this show. People are here. Like
Steph's going to have to get out there and sing. We are having a show.
Oh my gosh. These poor people, they did not pay for that. No. They did not pay for that.
You have an amazing voice, so stop.
And so it turns out that her flight is there. They got her on a flight. So they're like, don't cancel the show. We got her on a flight. We're like, okay. We loaded everyone in. We had to make an announcement from the stage that she was on her way, but she was delayed. And we're talking now we're about almost 45 minutes to an hour that the show would have started.
So say it was a 6 o'clock curtain.
Yeah, if it was, I think it was like 7:30. We're into. All of you that were there, thank you so much for just being the best patrons ever. I mean,
that's who you are. Yes.
Everyone hung out. They were like, we will wait for her. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
So myself and 2 other individuals get in the vehicle, go to pick her up at the airport, because clearly she was going to have a runner, and this whole day is just now shot.
Yeah.
So,
So you get the GM.
And she has Thunder Pup, who is her little puppy at the time.
Aww.
And so she gets in, sweetest lady. She gets in and she goes, oh my gosh, this has never happened. She's just this has never happened to her. Right. She can't believe she's about to do this. So we're driving. She asked how far we are from the venue. We're like, we're not that far. And she was asking about the people, and she was concerned that our patrons were going to be angry. Aww. And I said, no, we made an announcement. They're having a drink, their cocktail. It's all good. They're having fun. She was like, I am not even going to change my clothes. She was like, I'm going to go freshen up, and and then I'm going on that stage. And we're like, please take your time. I mean, really, whatever you need to do. Right. She was like, nope, they've waited for me long enough.
Oh my
So
gosh.
we get to the venue. She goes to the dressing room, powders her nose, and I'm not even kidding. She drags her little carry-on onto the stage and just does this whole bit about not being able to get to West Texas on time.
I love it.
With her Rose's cup, because
oh my gosh.
We'd had food for her, and
you clearly gave her Rose's sweet tea.
I mean, hello. And so she carries the Rose's cup out there with her and does this amazing night of music.
Oh my goodness.
In her flannel, cute little getup that she had on that
she was
day,
traveling in
her jeans, and yeah.
I love that story.
Yeah. We have the cutest
pictures. It makes you love Kristen Chenoweth even more. Which who thought you could? I mean, really, she's amazing. Thank you for sharing those stories. I love that. I love hearing the stories of just I mean, you love to hear a celebrity nice story, right?
Yes,
you know, because you hear all the bad ones. They get on TMZ or whatever.
We've had some great experiences.
I love that. Okay, we do something called Question of the Day. I'm sitting here today in Midland, Texas, with one of my favorite guests. It's been so much fun just getting to chat with her, because we usually, don't have the cameras in front of us when we're doing it. So now, we're just chatting with the lights and the cameras. But I love hearing your stories, because I get to hear even extended more, and just to get to hear your heart, and I love that. It's Stephanie Rivas, the general manager of the Wagner Noël. And so we're going to do our question of the day, because first I'm going to check and see if someone put the okay, it looks like they all have questions. Okay, just checking.
You're like, oh, great.
Oh, did Al just bring food in? Oh, wow.
Okay.
I love that.
If they made a movie about your life, who would you choose to play you? Oh my gosh.
That. I love thank you, sweetie.
No, who would play me?
Who would play you? I'm trying to think. I have one that comes to mind.
Who?
Eva Longoria.
Oh, it's funny, because I kind of thought that too. But I was like, I don't really know. I mean, we're both Mexican American.
You're both beautiful. Yeah. You're both gorgeous. That's who I kind of like. But anyway, it's your question, not mine.
Give us your suggestions. Give us your suggestions. I don't know. I don't really see celebrity in myself at all, so I'm like, they'll probably pick somebody blonde. I don't really know.
It's a fun question, though.
It is a fun question.
You
don't get to think about that one very often.
You really don't. Okay, we have one more. We have time for one more question of the day.
Your phone, is it good?
Oh, my phone?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, just make sure you get
How do you motivate yourself daily?
That's a good question.
Oh, that's a good question. How do I motivate myself daily?
And you got the strong card, which you are so strong.
Oh, thank you. How do I motivate myself daily? I think, one, I love what I do. Yeah. So I truly feel like I have a passion for what I do. So I think that sometimes that motivation comes a little easy. Things are still fun and exciting, but there are hard days, right? There are hard days. There's, we go through transition or staffing or, whatever it is, COVID. I mean, whatever that we're having to come through. And sometimes I would say probably more than motivation. Like, again, I am truly I get up in the morning and I say a quick little prayer. It's nothing like fancy.
Right.
It's sometimes when I'm doing my hair or my makeup, but I'm just kind of saying, thank you for the day. Like, help me get through this. Please help me bear with whatever the situation is, and it's just having that little just kind of moment of prayer, talk, reflection. Oops, sorry.
It's all right.
Talk with my hands.
I know we're hand talkers. It happens.
That I think help get me through the day. Right. So not necessarily as quote motivation. I'm not like prepping myself in the mirror going, you can do this.
You got this, which is okay if you do that.
If you do that,
because there are some days the day warrants that.
Yeah.
Like, all right, you got this.
If you're that person, give yourself the pep talk.
That's right.
I'm a little bit more of a reflective and ask for guidance or help or patience or whatever it is that I need to get me through whatever the situation is.
I love that. And I think prayer is such a great way prayer and gratitude is a great way to start the day, because it can help you get through the day, because we all know once you get out the door, I always call it you have to pivot, of course, throughout the day. Mm-hmm. But I always say sometimes your day gets hijacked, right?
Yes.
Like you think you're doing this, right? And then all of a sudden you're doing, I feel like the last 9 weeks got hijacked with my knee. Mm-hmm. Like you're doing this and then it gets hijacked and you're like, okay, that's not where we're going. Yeah. So you have to make that quick pivot and adjustment. And I bet in your business, you do have to do it a lot because you've got employees that call in sick. You've got the bass player that all of a sudden got COVID.
Ice decides to fall and we're loading in a show, and how are we going to get our patrons? And, it's just, I feel like there's always something. And I use the word flexible a lot with my staff.
I like that. Yeah.
We have to be flexible.
Yes.
Because maybe I learned this from being a producer, right? Again,
I was going to say, I think journalism helps you.
Here's that other part of that world that makes me who I am today. Yes. You can make the best laid plan, and then 2 seconds in, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's totally gone, and you're shifting and you're being flexible and you're working your way through it. And so, we have to sometimes go with the flow and figure it out as we go and ask for grace.
Yes, I love that.
In the middle
I
of
love
it.
that. Flexible and grace. Those are the two important things about your day.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
that. Okay, we're going to do something stuff called favorite things, because I
Okay.
love to hear your favorite things. So first of all, we'll start with book. What's your favorite book?
Oh gosh. So I'm going to go back to childhood. So Alice in Wonderland was my favorite book.
Oh,
that was
I
like
love
my
that.
first chapter book that I
Yes.
ever read. And I just loved it. I do love, I've kind of, started reading again. We have a little book club that we started during COVID, with some other ladies, and I love it. It's, we do a lot of thrillers.
Okay.
And so that's been a lot of fun. So
good.
yeah, so it's
That's
good. I
awesome.
love that I've kind of found books again.
I love
Yeah.
that, because I think, because now you have, we've had children that are now grown, and
Yes.
they don't take as much
time.
time, right? So you can actually read again. I get that.
Exactly.
All right, favorite movie.
Favorite movie. It's very cheesy.
I love cheese.
So,
give it to me. What's your cheesy
while
movie?
you were sleeping, which is a Sandra Bullock movie,
Yes,
from
yes.
like 1,000 years ago.
I
So,
love that movie.
so to the point where I had it on VHS, and then I wore it out, and then it went to DVD. Because when I was in college, I was poor, so I didn't have cable,
Right.
and so I would just watch the same movie over and over
that's
again.
great.
But I love that movie, and I love
is
Sandra
sweet.
Bullock.
Yes.
I really do.
I
And,
love that.
It's
And
kind of
she's
very
like
fairy tale.
She's
Yeah.
taking, long story short, she's taking the tokens right at the subway.
Yes.
And the guy
Yeah.
like falls in the subway or something and gets
He
has a
falls on the
concussion.
track, and she saves him, but he's now in a coma.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she he wakes up, she's there.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a cute love
Yeah.
story. Love those 80s
Yeah.
rom-coms.
Yes,
That's
yes.
a good one.
So
That's a
that
good
was
one.
just a fun one.
All right, favorite musical.
My favorite all-time musical is Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, isn't Phantom the best?
It is. I love it, and I know Phantom has a very love-hate. I'll be
Yes.
honest. There are a lot of theater people that don't really like Phantom. I love Phantom. It was the first tour. It was the first touring show I ever saw when I was in high school.
Gotcha.
So, and I saw it in a cut-down arena, so I didn't even see it in a beautiful performing arts center. But I was just blown away by the music, the costumes. I mean, just everything about that show was just magical to me. And I was really fortunate. So a few years ago, I had the opportunity to see it in Broadway. And I have to
that's
really tell you
incredible.
this quick story, because I wasn't planning on seeing it. We'd gone to New York for my meetings, and I always try to at least see one just show for myself when I'm there. And but I really hadn't had time. Well, we got snowed in one extra day. And so it was snowing, but it wasn't really bad yet. And I was the AGM at the time. My general manager, I said, "Do you want to go see a Broadway show?" And he was like, "No, I'm going to watch Netflix. It's snowing outside." And I said, "I'm going to go see a show." So he was like, "Just text me, make sure that you don't
get there.
yeah, that you get there." So I walked down to the half price ticket booth, and Phantom pops up, and I said, "Okay, I just need one ticket." And she's like, "Well, I have an orchestra center." And I said, Perfect, I'll take it." So I walk down that evening. I eat dinner by myself at Sardi's across the street from the Majestic, and have
that's
this
awesome.
wonderful dinner. And I go in, and I'm like 3 seats in orchestra center, and no one comes to the 2 seats on the aisle, so no one shows up. So I just kind of shift myself down to the aisle, and I had my amazing Broadway Phantom of the Opera moment. I was
That
like,
was incredible.
I can just die happy
Yeah,
now.
you're like, this is bucket list check.
Yes, check, all by myself. But it was, it was wonderful.
That sounds incredible.
It was wonderful.
And to
Yeah.
hear, is there? I'm sure there is a better song for somebody, but "Think of Me." To hear "Think of Me" in a theater, and just, it's like tears.
Yeah,
Tears
it's a
just
little,
fall.
it's a little operetta,
Yeah,
obviously.
right.
But when I was in high school, in choir, you're taught very formal, right?
Right.
And so that was my favorite song. And that was, I was young. I had a
love
much
it.
more soprano voice. It's a little deeper now as I get older. Definitely
Same.
can't do that. But
But
yeah,
hey, in the shower,
had that pretty soprano
those
voice,
notes
yeah,
in the shower.
when I was in high school. And so that was my favorite song to sing.
Oh,
It
that's
was. It
awesome.
was.
I love that. Okay, favorite song.
Favorite song? Oh gosh, I don't know if I have a favorite song. I like a lot of music. I like a lot of different genres of music. So I don't know if I have a favorite song. Quite honestly, there's not one that I just sing all the time, really.
Okay. favorite memory in West Texas.
Favorite memory in
Yes.
West Texas. What would be my favorite memory in West Texas? Gosh, there've been a lot. You think back on the
All
news
the
days.
years.
I know all the news days and all the that's a hard one too. You have hard
I got
questions.
the hard questions.
you
I
got the hard
asked the
questions.
hard-hitting
Favorite
questions.
memory
Oh, yeah.
in West
Party.
Texas. Yeah, right. Yeah, favorite memory in West Texas. I don't know if it's probably not a favorite memory, but it's a cool West Texas memory, and I just actually got to relive it a little bit. Somebody posted it on Facebook. So when we were in high school, and this was going way back, again, small West Texas town, right? I did love my high school though. I will genuinely say I loved growing up in Denver City. I loved my high school, and I loved, the people, our band directors, our choir directors. I mean, they really taught us a lot. But we got invited to march in the Hollywood Christmas Parade of the Stars. And then we
cool.
also did a competition there in California. And so they recently uploaded it to YouTube, in case you're interested. But they were sharing it on our alumni page, and so I got to watch it. Somebody had, it's VHS, so the quality was kind of grainy.
I love VHS.
But to remember what that was like, I just remember it was the first time I'd ever was on a plane, ever outside of Texas. There were
kind of showed you what was out there.
Yes.
that
It was
dream
such a big thing,
Yeah.
right? And, it was miles and miles in these horrible boots with heels, because
my
we did the military shorts and,
Yes.
so, but
a
just,
fun memory.
yeah, but it was just a really cool, and to be from and they did, the news station had done a piece on, this small West Texas town that got invited to go march at the Hollywood Christmas Parade of the Stars. And so it was really neat to kind of see that and reflect on that recently. Cause really, truly, I feel like that's what West Texas is about. It's about community. It's about people. It's about those, experiences that you have that you wouldn't have if you lived anywhere else.
Exactly. I love that.
At that level.
Yeah. Well, we are getting close to the end because I know you've got a meeting to go.
You got to go train.
You got to go train.
Do some customer service training. Yeah, we love to beef up where we can.
But I have a couple of things at the end here. First of all, I want you to give the best piece of advice to someone that is, maybe going on a journey similar to yours. What advice would that be?
Gosh, trust yourself. Trust that little voice inside you, because I know sometimes I don't really want to listen to it.
I'm right there with you.
And I doubt it a lot. But trust that instinct, that gut, the feeling that you have. If it's something that you think that you might like, try it. I don't think that I would be where I am right now if I hadn't just trusted in that feeling. Because I think I for a long time was really worried and concerned that I wasn't going to be good enough, that I couldn't do this, that I wasn't going to, I didn't have years of industry experience in this one capacity. But trust all the things that you have learned throughout your life, and then find how you can utilize those again. Every day I'm going back to things that I learned, whether it was in school or whether I learned within my career in broadcast journalism or, whatever it was. You just, trust that instinct that you have.
And your stomach flips, right?
It does.
When people say, follow your gut, I'm like, no, really, follow your gut.
Really, you do. You have that feeling.
Yeah,
for a
you
reason.
get that feeling in your stomach, and looking back.
And sometimes you feel like you think you're going to be sick.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's your gut telling you. That's true.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have known that earlier in life too.
Yeah.
I wish I would have, knew that in my 20s, right? But now in our world, we won't say that.
Because we doubt ourselves.
Yeah,
it's so easy to doubt yourself.
We doubt ourselves so much, and I love that. Great piece of advice. Yay. Okay, really quick, we always ask if you have a nonprofit, because there's so many amazing nonprofits, and you've sat on so many wonderful boards here in West Texas. Which one would you like to shout out today?
I'm going to shout out Casa of West Texas.
Okay,
So I sit on the board
fantastic.
for Casa of West Texas. I also sit on the board for Arts Council of Midland. So two great organizations there.
Yes.
Casa, again, we help foster children in West Texas. And we obviously dearly need court-appointed advocates.
Yes.
And especially if you're a Spanish speaker, and this is male or female, there's room for you, and CASA does training, and we will take you through the process. But really, to be the voice for a child who does not feel like they have their own voice is huge. And when you hear some of the stories of some of these things that these kids are going through, but so many of these kids make it through that because of their CASA, because of that person, that other human that cares about them and is looking out for them.
And that volunteer may be the only person that has really cared for them.
Absolutely.
And shown them, love to help them get through this tough time.
Yep. And
I
support.
love that. Yes. And support. Thank you so much. So CASA of West Texas, we will send a donation on behalf of the show.
You.
So thank you for pointing them out, because it's such a great organization.
It really is.
I also want really quick, you don't have to give us all the lowdown, but give us like a little, what's coming down the road at the Wagners, and maybe some of the highlights that you can talk about.
I know. Oh, I don't even have my phone. I'm terrible at this. My staff makes fun of me because they're like, "Oh my gosh, you can never remember who we have coming." And I'm like, "It's because I'm working like 2 years out."
Yeah, you're like I can tell you 24 months down the road.
I can tell you I have, but I can't tell you. But so we're going into Anastasia's not Anastasia. Yeah, is it Anastasia? Yeah, Anastasia is our next Broadway show that's coming up. So we still have Anastasia and Cats. Those are the last 2 shows for our Broadway season. And then we'll do new subscribers. So we'd love to have you as a subscriber for Broadway. So those are our last 2 shows for this summer. But we have, I can say we're going to bring Britt Floyd back. So if you're a Pink Floyd lover, that is a summer show, and it's always phenomenal. That's a phenomenal band. Joe Coy just announced. So if you love comedy, oh my gosh, get your tickets because it's going to sell out quick.
And the comedy shows are amazing.
Comedy shows are amazing. Krista Elia's this weekend. Joanne Shaw Taylor. If you love blues music, she is up and coming. If you went to Joe Bonamassa, Joe Bonamassa's camp is very supportive of her. Joanne Shaw Taylor's coming up next week. So great artists there for our Latin fans. Maricela's this weekend. Ooh. So Maricela's wonderful and just has this gorgeous voice and these love songs, and so just really truly our goal is to have a variety of entertainment, a little something for everyone, and Blippi coming up for the kids. So
that's fun.
So lots of fun stuff.
I love it. Well, thank you for doing what you do and bringing us these amazing artists to West Texas. It truly is. It's one of Al and my goal is to attend more, because every time we go, it's like you said, you just feel so good and you feel so much joy. And we saw the Kenny Rogers band not that long ago was there. Jerry Seinfeld this year, and we've seen George Lopez when he's coming in the band, and you just leave going, how lucky are we to have a state-of-the-art theater like this and have these artists come see us here in West Texas.
Well, I would challenge everyone to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. I mean, our website, we're adding those events daily. So WagnerNoel.com is the website. But if you're not familiar, look up the artist. A lot of times tickets are very inexpensive, especially if you get a balcony seat. Right. If it's not an artist that you're not familiar with, get an inexpensive ticket and come experience the show, because I really feel like you're going to broaden your the genres of music that you can appreciate, and truly we try to make sure that the quality, the level of entertainment that we bring is never going to disappoint you.
Yes.
So no matter what the show is, so just take some risks with us.
And here's a little something that we can talk about: Divas and Desserts that we get to do together every year is going to be at the Wagner.
It is going to be at the Wagner Noel this year. Yes, I know, I'm very excited.
That's so exciting.
It'll be the first time I've ever done anything on our stage.
Oh,
so
I love that.
How fun is that?
That is so fun. Yeah. So shout out to Basin Theater Works.
Yes.
It is their major fundraiser at Basin Theater Works, and they do.
So if you want a sponsor table, just hit Krista or I up at some point. We'll let you know, or any of the other amazing divas. We have so much fun.
It's so much fun. I love it. So thank you so much, Steph, for being here today. Is there anything in conclusion that we didn't get to talk about that you're like, oh man, I hope I say that when I go?
No, I really just, I love what I do. I love the patrons of West Texas. I love that you all love and support the venue the way that you do. I mean, we appreciate that as the staff.
Well, thank you. And thank you all for listening today. It's been so much fun. I feel like you guys just got to sit with us in the office and hear us chit chat about life. And I love getting to hear your story, because it is such an amazing one, an inspirational one, and just really to hone in on that. Every experience leads you to where you're supposed to be, which I love that you said that, because it was all just kind of preparing you for this dream job.
It's just going to be time.
That you get to live. I love that for you, and I'm so happy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for joining us. I want to also shout out our sponsors one more time. A special thank you to Tapestry Hotel Midland, Rig ID Workwear, Midland Cap Company, and JoinCapClub.com. Support our local vendors, support our local sponsors, just support local, whatever you can do.
That's right. We have some great local
shops, restaurants, stores, everything, venues.
Yeah.
And so we encourage you to do that. If you ever want to reach out to us, remember, follow us at Krista Escamilla, and we would love to get a guest in here that you would like to see. So don't forget my mottos: dream big, believe, and never give up. You make it a great day.